There's a lot of talk about digital being over. You see it everywhere. You see it on every thumbnail and every video title nowadays. And after obviously the big Nintendo or the PlayStation reveal that they're no longer doing PlayStation disc after 2028, everybody's going crazy. And they're saying, oh, it's the end of the physical gaming. It's the end of having the option to buy something physical. And to that, I say, sensationalism is a thing. It's a thing. And it's like, wait a minute though. There are places where you can still get physical. Remember, Sony is the one that decided to do this. Now, side note, it's actually third parties that are pushing Sony towards this all digital future because they're the ones that dominate the platform and they're the ones that make to stand to gain the most in terms of selling their copies on PlayStation, because then they obviously get to control the market, the prices, yada yada, and nobody else has any choice. So third parties, they're the lion's share of the responsibility on why this has happened. The same with game keys back in the PS3 days and all that stuff. So this is all their push to get as much money out of people as possible with them having no choice. That's what it is. But to say that the end is here is ridiculous. And the reason why is because there is one platform that actually is keeping it around. So to say that the end is here, that's ridiculous. Well, we have physical. And as a matter of fact, we have true physical. What is true physical? It runs off the physical media, period. And Nintendo, the company that has physical left, maybe Xbox, but we really don't know at this point. I mean, it's likely they're gonna go all digital as well, especially because they pretty much copy each other, Sony and Microsoft. So it is what it is. But Nintendo is the only one with true physical and other physical options such as game key cards. So they're the only ones left. And there's been a lot of responses in terms of that, and I've seen certain accounts come out and say, well, that's not going to last long, which, one, you're coping for the fact that this is happening on the PlayStation now because nobody asked about 10 years from now. They're asking about what's happening in the current present. But second, we have the fact that Nintendo doesn't obey what Sony or Microsoft do in terms of following the market and following their investors. They don't do that. For one, they have a stable physical market, not just across the world, but especially in Japan. And for anybody who knows anything about Nintendo, in Japan, they love physical. Physical is their thing. It's why I believe it's the Famitsu charts or whatnot. They always count physical sales. They never count digital because physical is a big thing out there. So they're not willing to just change out of nowhere just because everybody else did, because then that leaves the people who have a huge amount of physical out there in Japan left with no option. Plus, we already had a statement 2 years ago in May where the Nintendo president came out and basically just quelled all the fears of going all digital and pretty much said no matter how much physical or digital grows over time on the Nintendo platform, that they were just going to go ahead and continue to still support the consumers on the physical side because they want to have all the touch points for consumers and they don't want to limit those touch points regardless. So that was a done deal then. So Nintendo's not going to be doing that. Like, anything is possible, sure. Anything's possible. But probability? Nah. Especially after they came out and said that that's not the direction they're going to be going in. And they see the success, and they see the Japanese sales, and they see even the Western sales. They see even more third party bringing not just game key cards, but on cart video games to the Nintendo Switch 2 currently. And I remember the conversation before the Switch 2 came out, and there was a bunch of people trying to come out and say that, oh, Nintendo wouldn't even have physical backwards compatibility because they would be moving on and doing digital, and it wouldn't be compatible, this, that, and the third. And lo and behold, complete compatibility in terms of the cartridges. So I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, all these assumptions being made are just almost out of a fear, not a fear, but like a disdain for the fact that Nintendo is the only one with physical now, which is a big deal breaker with a lot of people. Because a lot of core gamers, we like to own our stuff. The casuals don't really care as much, but core gamers love to own their stuff. So the fact that this is going away on the Sony side, well, it makes sense for a lot of people to sensationalize it on YouTube and be like, oh, well, but PlayStation, they're the only ones who, are the center of gaming in terms of the gaming world. So we gotta say that physical is dead because PlayStation is killing it. Not because it's actually dead, but because they're the ones that are killing it, and apparently on the internet only PlayStation exists. And that's crazy. That's insane to even say. Why give people false hope when you can tell them to go and support where physical still exists? And I think the bias is pretty simple. I think the I guess some type of manufactured hatred against Nintendo is apparent here, because it's like, well, again, if you truly believed in physical, what you would be doing now isn't trying to say it's over and that it's done and that we just need to all go digital. You would be saying, let's support it where it is left, and let's also push against what's happening as much as we can on the PlayStation side. But we're not hearing that. It's just the doom and gloom is over, let's all go digital. That's very interesting to me.